Hello, my name's Elizabeth, and welcome to my series of videos about Disney's Beauty and the Beast. This video has taken me longer than I planned to make, as it has been challenging to figure out how to order the topics so that they flow into each other. I've accomplished this by looking at this series as though I'm painting a picture. Before I can get to the main focus of the painting, I need to build up the layers and create the background on which I can then place that focus. A painting is the sum of its parts, and each part is important because without them, something is lost from the overall composition. So with that said, let's continue. One of the characters from the original, whose story seems to be the most overlooked or misunderstood, is someone you might be surprised about. I'm talking about Lefou, literally meaning the fool. He seems to slip under the radar of most Disney fans. He's just called a villain, comic relief, or a silly sidekick. But there's actually a lot more to his character that's really important, and that I was really hoping they would explore in the remake. But, for reasons I'll discuss, they didn't. Or couldn't. Or wouldn't. So let's begin this video, all about Lefou. Gaston and Lefou. Lefou and Gaston. In both versions of the story, this pair have a very close and unique relationship that is an important part of the overall message of the story. However, what that relationship is like and what messages it might be sharing is very different in the original and remake versions. This video is mainly about Lefou and his relationship to Gaston, but because Gaston is an integral part of Lefou's journey, he'll also be that for this video. In the original film, Lefou is a very tiny person. He's smaller in stature than a child would be in his world. As far as his place on the pecking order would be, if he was by himself, is pretty low, if not at the very bottom. It's no accident that he hangs around Gaston. Gaston is the largest man in town. He's strong, handsome, and powerful. All the people in the town love him, no matter what he does. Lefou is powerless, so he bonds to Gaston in order to benefit from Gaston's power. It's a survival mechanism, but it comes with conditions. Lefou has to give up his own identity and conform to what Gaston wants him to be. The original Gaston song basically consists of Lefou singing about how great Gaston is to make Gaston feel better, and in return, Gaston makes Gaston feel better by punching Lefou, throwing Lefou around, and generally abusing Lefou. This is their relationship. It's one of dependence, power imbalance, and abuse. It's also hard for Lefou to really understand what expectations Gaston has for him, as they seem to change quite a bit. When Lefou makes fun of Belle's father, Gaston laughs along with him until Belle gets cross, when Gaston immediately turns on Lefou and whacks him on the head. Gaston cuts Lefou off through violent means when he tries to share his opinions. Gaston demeans Lefou and makes him grovel and placate to Gaston's ego, and this grates on Lefou throughout the film. By the time we see them plotting to commit Maurice, Lefou is drinking heavily and looks pretty dejected. He makes a comment against Gaston and receives the expected punishment. At this point, Lefou also shows a bit more of a truly nasty side and appears to enjoy being a part of the evil plot. What is possibly most interesting about Lefou's storyline is that by the time the townsfolk are assembled and it's time to convince them that Maurice is crazy, it's not Gaston doing the talking, but Lefou. Gaston has completed his work on Lefou and can stand back in the shadows and watch his puppet work. Lefou is now speaking on Gaston's behalf, fulfilling a plan that doesn't really benefit Lefou at all. What's more is that Lefou is reveling in his newfound power as bestowed on him by Gaston. Lefou is the center of attention. He's the one everyone is listening to. And he's at the front of the mob, brandishing a torch with a truly evil look on his face, following Gaston to kill the beast. Lefou has gone from silly sidekick to bloodthirsty attacker because he was re-educated by Gaston through abuse. Those are some pretty heavy themes right there. I was actually really excited when I heard they were making a live-action Beauty and the Beast because so many fans of the original seem to have missed Lefou's storyline altogether and just saw him, as I said, like a silly sidekick the whole way through, when he is so much more. But then it was announced that Lefou was going to be homosexual, and my heart sank. Not because of this new sexuality, but because I knew that there was absolutely no way that Disney would allow a gay character to be the victim of abuse, no matter how powerful the storyline could be. I wish they would have been that brave, because the added element of the new character's sexuality would have made the themes even more interesting and tragic. But I also knew that the backlash against doing so would have been, well, not good, to say the least. Therefore, the themes would be completely removed, and with them, the important messages they could have shared. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against giving a character a homosexual storyline, but I am against them changing that character in order to do so. I mean, surely there could be another, more suitable character to give a bittersweet, unrequited love story to. One that could be fitted in without changing the story in any massively fundamental way. Yes? No? Okay then. So, what's this new Lefou like? Well, in my opinion, whatever they replaced original Lefou with was automatically going to be less than what could have been explored in a live action version if they'd stayed true to the original character. So instead of examining this new Lefou, I think I'll just do what these remake creators did with the original and just move on. That being said, I will be considering this new Lefou when I do my next video, which is all about Gaston, because Gaston and Lefou's characters are so intrinsically linked together. But he's not going to be the main focus of any video because I simply don't care about characters that are used to push an agenda. Especially because original Lefou's character was a study in how abuse victims not only conform to what their captors want, but they start to identify with them and eventually turn to fight on their side. Stockholm Syndrome, anyone? Go back and watch the original cartoon and pay close attention to what Lefou goes through, and then think about how disturbing and dark and powerful his story would be if it was truly translated into a live action version. And it's not as if the creators were afraid to go to dark places, because they gave the Beast a brand new backstory of abuse when it doesn't really fit with his character. So then why did they take it away from Lefou? It doesn't make any sense. And all it really says to me is that the creators of the remake didn't understand the characters that they were working with in the first place. I know that may sound harsh, but the evidence points in that direction, and I've got to follow the evidence. It's a real shame, and it was one of the main reasons I decided to make this series of videos. So in a way, I guess I'm grateful to the remake creators for getting it so wrong and giving me a chance to point out all the things that are so right about the original. There's always a silver lining. So, with these changes made to Lefou's character, what does that mean for Gaston? I'll be exploring his character in the next video, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you'd like to hear my future thoughts. Please do comment below, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And until next time, I'm Elizabeth, and remember, it's all about the story.